Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing about one another topic, that is city grid. In this we are discussing one software basically, that is basically this group basically, about this group, and this group are giving the money to this group basically, and these groups are basically telling that we have created lots of things basically. In this basically I told one example basically. From that I basically the blood cells is going to generate that, just taking as an example basically, so that basically it should be very clear basically. That person which is going, that is basically that person. So that was actually called Sunil Nair. From that basically the user story generated, and then basically he called through internet that person basically. Can you damage that person's body, which basically I have sent the mail. That time basically is in his blood cells basically, in his body basically, it was one more chain basically generated from the internet basically, which was mail sent to him basically. So just see basically the energy groups and the blood group basically keeps each and every thing, each and every incidence very clear basically. So he sent the mail basically. That was basically like this basically. He basically changed the thing basically, but he basically only mailed to whom basically, mailed to Dubai basically. After that basically the things is over basically. Then basically it connected to the internet chain basically, because from his body parts basically the internet chain was generated. So internet chain basically, then it connects to the again to the mail, then basically to the mail, then it connects to the Mumbai mail, then it's connected to the Bangalore mail. So like that from his body parts basically the internet chain basically was generated into the environment basically. So like this Bangalore group basically connected to the that group basically, who are actually investigating who actually damaged this here. Just taking as an example, really basically, so that it should be clear basically that what actually I want to say. Then he told that oh okay basically. Then basically the Bangalore group basically, who are actually attacking his ear basically, that group basically was tracked basically. That why you are damaging his ear basically. One of the universe person basically asked. Like this basically story goes on basically. Like this basically the stories goes on. So one of the person told that basically, up to this level basically the IT industry is reached basically. Then into the yes basically. And that is this group basically. Because this group is this person basically, that is this, he is also going to affect from that attack basically. That's why basically. So he basically secure himself always basically. He only basically solves the problem, and he only basically say that basically block that data basically which is coming in front of me basically. And that basically is ignoring basically. And that ignoring basically might create problem in future to that particular person. That is this person basically. One sim person basically. If he is ignoring, for example, I have sent basically mail to the hundreds of recruiter, and I applied from the LinkedIn, Naukri.com, this, that, each and everywhere basically I have sent the mail. But I have not got the job basically. I applied from Vio and Jio basically. This is the mobile basically, Samsung. From that basically I applied basically. So one of the person told the Samsung is going to also affect, yes, 100%. He is also going to affect basically. The Vio basically is also going to affect, and the Geo group basically also going to affect basically one day basically. That not them, because they are going to tell basically ignore. But that ignore basically is going to affect to them also basically. One day basically. But not basically now. It might be some long process basically, when they may be connecting their data basically with the universe basically. That time basically it might possible that in future basically this planet is going to that side basically. That time basically they will be sending their data basically. That time basically it might possible that it get effect basically, and that will be very long term effect basically. Long term means it will take time basically, but it will not affect immediately basically. It will not affect the immediate reason. They are up to that level powerful basically. They can block their data, they can block everything. But normal person basically, for example, some person is telling that basically, assume Shadi.com basically. Shadi.com, few girls rejected me. So Shadi.com basically told that, so that girls basically told that, can you please give the control to us basically of that particular person. So immediately they basically, ye Shadi.com group basically given the control of that laptop only basically. How they basically got the permission basically, that I don't know. Just taking as an example basically. Get the control, and then basically, that means basically websites group basically takes the control of the laptops basically. And this is very dangerous for the computer companies basically. The reason they only gives the allow na basically. Why? Because just for few business basically they are giving the access basically, and this basically will harm them in future basically. That is 100% sure basically. That is 100, because lots of bodies are basically getting. They basically might be telling we are increasing the business of doctors basically, but doctor never told basically that give us business like this basically. Doctor never say basically that give us business like this basically. That is the policy of the government, policy of the companies basically, who say that basically we have given you this much business basically. But doctor will never basically says this type of thing basically, that give us business like this basically. They basically never says basically. And few doctors say, few groups says that basically they say also basically. But that depends upon the mentality, which kind of doctors basically they are. Few people says that, do you know Sunil basically, for example, you are moving from the road, from one of the vehicle basically passed from backside basically, and the laser attack basically, that light basically, do you know basically big light basically in the vehicle basically. Yes, that I know basically, that vehicle I know, that light basically might attack to your leg or basically to your back basically. Yes, basically that I know basically, that up to that level the data science group basically has tracked, data science group basically has tracked basically, data science group has been tracked basically that data basically. Then he told that yes basically, yeah, they have tracked basically. But which group was that basically? That basically track is possible. Then one of the person told that need to check here basically which group actually was that basically. कौन सा group था ना, that need to check basically. Because that is, for example, assume basically that one of the person basically, when he was attacking that time basically one of the universe group basically saw that basically. That time basically when the universe groups saw basically that area basically converted into the bad energy basically. And in future basically due to that area basically, it has converted to earthquake data basically. It has converted into earthquake data. So in future basically whenever that energy is going to use, that is going to convert to the earthquakes. And that earthquakes basically are going to be tracked by the set of groups who basically creates the incidents basically. Who creates the incidents basically in future. So this basically incidents has become the business. Incidents basically has become the business basically. So just see up to what level the IT industry basically has reached basically. Up to what level the IT industry has reached basically. Up to what level the IT industry has reached, yeah, basically. And this basically, this is going to affect, and this is also going to affect one day basically. So one of the person told that यार हाँ ये लोग कैसे जिंदगी जीते होंगे, how they might be having their lifestyle basically. Then he told that yes, yeah, basically you have to think at least basically one time basically, because there are more than 190 crore basically Indian basically, and more than 50 crore basically in outside India basically. So each and everything basically is going to affect to this person basically, who is having this SIM basically. So how is doctor basically might be handling each and every stuff basically. So that we are going to discuss in next video basically.